Alright guys, welcome back to the Outer Worlds. Let's go to the pit. So this is probably the one thing I would be like, man, how would you get through this on Supernova? Pit exit over there. Probably can't unlock these doors. No, we can. Let's see how big this place is. Just a big old circle. Now we could go... Okay, this is the way we're going. We can go that way as well. Which we actually might because of terminals and stuff that I want. Solitary Confinement Prisoner Manifest, Pod 1. In Hague S, in Reason, possession of anti-UDL communications, in duration 17, out Williams T. In Williams T, Reason, inciting violence, duration 31, out Black M. In Black M, duration 5, Reason, random selection, Pod 2. Error, undefined error. Try and move as little as possible. Access storage manifest. Oh wait, note from your favorite warden, please do not leave perishables in here. We marked this as cold storage because we're starting to move pods in here. This is not an actual freezer. The next time I find a decomposing woolly cow box in here, I'm leaving it on the air conditioning intake for a week. Okay, storage terminal. In dementali sulfoxide canisters. Out straitjackets, riot batons, ballistic vests. In hibernation chamber. Out indoctrination pamphlets. In forced pacification system refills. In hibernation chamber. In material storage and shipping containers. Oh. Architectural records. Structural changes needed to accommodate hibernation chambers in the LBR-NTH facility. In an analysis from engineers Rodfield, Crane, and Geist, beginning with the requirement that every chamber receive a constant supply of, at minimum, 34 kilowatts, and that occupants of these chambers be injected with a steady supply of UDL's patented Vite-O hibernation fluid, and this run-on sentence carries on for 12 pages before finally concluding. And thus, in order to maintain structural integrity throughout the area designated the pit, we recommend that chambers are installed in cylindrical fashion around the supporting structure dug into the crust of Tartarus to a maximum depth of. This conclusion extends for another 2 pages. Okay, so let's continue on this way. So there's the exit, but I do want to actually go over there and see what's in it. More food than I thought. Point of interest discovered. Oh. So you can get here.
Entering quiet mode.
In kind of a stealthy way, it seems. Yep, you go down there. Okay. Although if you have this hologram thing, you don't need to do it stealthy. You can just walk straight to it. Melody. Rotating password list. A list of passwords for something called a RAM. There are 3 columns, but only one is legible. The rest have been scratched out. Today's password from the column is 3 Borst. You Borst. Might as well, you know what I mean. Let's see. 1 UDO is not responsible for harm caused by this FPS to any personnel, nor to any non-personal human resources. This FPS is only to be used in emergency situations. Proper utilization of the FPS will not confer punitive action on its user, even in the event of injuries. As this system utilizes a powerful steam-based delivery mechanism, please alert your nearest mechanical engineer that the system's valves will need replacing after every use. And that's for the patented forced pacification systems. You agreed to the following terms. Okay. Deliver pacification gas. Pacification deployment requires an authorization password. Can we talk to this person?
I'm working as fast as I can, all right? If y'all would quit bothering me, I'd get this done sooner.
What are you doing? Hey, his terminal's asking me for a password. Do you know it? Yeah, what are you doing?
Fixing the FPS system. FPS system. It's redundant, Melody. Can you just let me work? I'm almost done.
I don't know what an FPS is.
Forced pacification system. If the prisoners riot, we gas them. It went a little haywire after the last deployment, so here I am. Anyway, I need to finish this, so get out of here, will you? What?
This terminal's asking me for a passcode. Do you know it?
Of course. Why?
I need to use it, and I'm going to stand here and annoy you until you give it to me.
Oh, for law's sake. Fine. Just don't go shooting up the place with gas, all right? The password is tartar sauce. One word. All lowercase. Have at it.
That's hilarious. Oops. Haha. Oh shit. Okay. Doesn't seem like there's going to be any terminals or anything for us to see, so we'll probably just go...
All right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help. So get in there and fight!
The hell?
Wait for company ammo.
Bring him down!
My guess is they were coming for us. Let's get out of there, guys.
Everyone all right?
Carry on.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. Oh. My disguise.
You get tired of patrolling? Are you new here? I didn't think we were hiring more staff.
I was hired to test your security procedures. Congratulations, you passed.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, sir.
I'll be sure to pass this on to your supervisor.
Much appreciated. I'll get out of your way.
Unsealed door.
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. Ah, I knew I smelled Monarch when you lot walked in. The stench of sulfur, depression, and desperate bravado is unmistakable.
Keep talking, you'll be smelling iron. Ain't nobody so important I won't put a bullet in.
And... oh, I had heard you were dragging around a repurposed janitorial mechanical. My staff jokes that it's because you're a walking pile of refuse.
Interactive database updated. The unique organic substance labeled Chairman has been classified as filth, imminent for incineration.
There you go, Sam.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it recognizable to show to my citizens.
Chairman Rockwell, I presume.
My word! You've correctly identified the most recognizable man in the colony. Remarkable. It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person. Thankfully, he's our insane person now. A proper company man.
Please, Phineas would rather die than cooperate. Cooperate,
Yes,
sorry.
he is an extraordinarily obstinate fellow, isn't he? Fine, he isn't working for us per se. Semantics, he'll come around. But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a working-class man. It's a miracle.
That crackpot is saving the frozen colonists you gave up on.
Oh yes, go on, wake them up, add more mouths to feed. That'll solve our starvation problems. I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat has been leading you through, but it's done. It's over. Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any point thought about not fucking up our entire society?
You know, I wouldn't have to if you'd been more cooperative about this. You know, the thought honestly hadn't crossed my mind. I'm just trying to help. You'd prefer to keep riding this downward spiral. I can fix this place.
If I and my people can ride it out in luxury and happiness, yes, yes I would. I don't know if you've noticed, Captain, but Halcyon's pretty much a lost cause.
With your resources and some of the folks on the Hope, we could do a lot.
I'll admit, there's no shortage of talent in the scientists and engineers there. Look, I'm not an unreasonable man. If you manage to storm the castle, as it were, and make it out of here with Phineas alive, I can't exactly afford more havoc than you've already caused. Fine. If you survive, you'll need someone to sell the rest of the board on your plan.
Let's see, we can say good. Maybe some good can come out of all this after you after all. Right, you just wait here for my orders. You're damn right you will, otherwise I'm coming for you next. Oh, that's interesting. See, messages. Cameras. Jim, I'm trying to get straight with Akande's orders, only a few things more from my end, but I don't know what we'll do about cameras. She says security footage ain't enough. They want proper reels. What's going on, W? Reminder cameras. She's bringing in a VIP for internment. Security's ramping up too. Sorry for the inconvenience. It's a fine mess down here. Said something about recording an announcement. They're all overly excited. It's hush-hush, but I guess this VIP's been on the run for a while. I bet the engineers have a few cameras. I'll see if I can track some down. Jim. Reminder cameras. Jim, appreciate it. You know her. We miss a check on this list, it's our heads. You have no idea how tough it was getting a fucking green tarp. W. Really?
Muting volume.
Oh, I
now.
can't pickpocket him. Alright, Phineas, we're coming. Okay. Seems like about the same both ways. Yeah. And we do have 3 checks anyway, so.
Stay down. I don't see what the fuss is about a blasted lab company ammo.
Fugitive's a fugitive. Let it go.
I don't know what's going on.
Company ammo.
I just heard a fine phone.
This is nice.
Oh, MSI
Calm
guy, they're
before
helping
the
us.
storm and all that.
Difficult job ahead? Consider equipping a pack of Sam's special solvent stain-out remover. It's ruthless on residual blood splatter.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. You've been working with Dr. Wells from the beginning. When we moved to arrest him, he was prepared. I lost good soldiers in the attempt. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty.
It's over, Sophia. Stand down. We're liberating Halcyon, and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop us.
I'm afraid I can't do that. You have a flair for subtlety. If you'd worked for me, you would have been the greatest fixer Halcyon has ever seen. For all your talents, you are the enemy of Halcyon, and therefore you are my enemy.
I'm here for Phineas. Let him go.
You make a nuanced and compelling argument. Here's my rebuttal. No. Dr. Wells is being held in my custody. His cooperation will prove invaluable, even if I have to beat it out of him. All that's left to do is put down this riot, arrest you, and then get on with the bloody business of saving this colony.
I don't enjoy the thought of killing you. There's been enough violence already. Let's talk about this.
Fair enough. I'm giving you exactly one chance to parley with me.
You don't want to die on Tartarus. I'm giving you a chance to walk away. Wicked charm. I don't want to fight you, Sophia. You're one of the only rational people left. Wow, if you want to intimidate, you also need heavy weapons and two-handed. We'll go persuade. You don't want to die on Tartarus. I'm giving you a chance to walk away.
Interesting that you think I'm going to die here. I believe I'm more than capable of taking you on.
Nothing stopped me so far. What makes you think you will?
Fair point. I don't know how you've managed to defy the odds. By every reasonable estimate, you should be dead. Yet here you stand. I've devoted my entire life to protecting Halcyon. I'm not afraid to die in the line of duty.
The board's not worth dying for.
There isn't much of a board left, thanks to you. You've thrown this system into disarray. Cleaning up your mess will be the work of a lifetime. You were always an unknown variable. I tried to recruit you, but you threw your lot in with that madman, Phineas Wells.
Persuade and science at 90. Dr. Wells and I are both scientists. We believe Halcyon can still be saved.
I'm aware of Dr. Wells' plan. Revive some brilliant scientists and engineers from the Hope and work with them to save the colony. He's already revived you, after all. 50 or 60 years ago, I might have agreed with you. But we've passed the point of no return. The best scientists in Halcyon can't save us now.
Yeah, watch me. or it's going to take a miracle to save Halcyon, but we can do it if we work together.
I appreciate your confidence, Captain. But so long as you're allied with Dr. Wells, we can never work together. I haven't given up on the program yet. You've caused some complications, but I can improvise. I can fix this. I haven't lost control of the labyrinth yet. Our security system is still operational. I can still put a stop to you.
I've left a lot of corpses behind me, Sophia. You sure you want to be next?
When you put it that way, no. Not in the least. Damn it all. Very well. You win. I'm familiar enough with your methods to realize my chances of survival are low. Congratulations, Captain. You've outplayed me. I accept your terms and will return Dr. Wells to your care.
Thank you. I'm glad we could settle this without violence.
I just hope you've made the right decision. The fate of the colony is in your hands now. I bid you farewell, Captain.
Well, let's get to him. There's no way we will just be given, you know. Something's gonna be up. What's over here? Ah. Hibernation chamber key to unlock. I wonder where we would have gotten that. Probably searching the other place. The other places that we left. Nothing to take over there.
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You must have said something to get under Akande's skin. She's gone, and I don't think she's coming back. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough.
Are you alright? Alright? What did they do to you? You know, I wouldn't let anything happen to you, Phineas.
I know, my friend, I know. And now it's finally over. The board's finished. It's only a matter of time before the entire system slips from their grasp. You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated.
I don't like the sound of all that.
Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
So we've got to make do on our own. Seems to me that'll make us stronger in the end anyhow.
You're quite right. We've got no choice but to make do on our own. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own.
We have a lot of work ahead of us. We best get started. I need to ask you something, though.
Yes, certainly. I'll help however I can.
What do you think happened?
I don't know what happened, but something must have gone horribly wrong. I don't know why Earth's gone silent. I don't even know if Earth exists anymore. We have no connection back to Earth, and return is likely impossible. We're completely alone out here.
You mentioned a frigate disappearing.
You might have heard of the Earth Directorate's frigate. Half the colony's entire military was on that ship. they were returning to Earth when they vanished without a trace. That was 2 years ago. We haven't heard a word from them since. Whatever happened to Earth likely happened to them.
There's something else I know about the other colonists, Phineas.
I wasn't trying to hide the truth from you, but after all you've done, I owe you an explanation. Yes, I experimented on the Hope's colonists. Each of my experiments ended in catastrophic failure. Each of my subjects died in agony. You are my first and only success. I didn't tell you about the others because I didn't want to burden you. My failures are my own to bear, not yours.
I forgive you, Phineas.
Thank you. Perhaps in time I'll learn to forgive myself.
I mean, I figured there were...
My apologies. I need to get a hold of
had done it
myself.
to other people. I mean,
we've far more pressing
for
issues
me
to
to be
worry
the
about right now.
first
If you have
success,
any more
you know.
questions, ask me. I'll answer as best I can. Yes, you're right. The road is long, and we haven't a moment to waste. We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds. And then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us?
I've got plans with the chairman in my pocket. No one's going to know I'm running the colony. I'm going to run this colony myself. I've already convinced the chairman to take my side. You can count on me. I hope you revive the other colonists.
I can't tell you how glad I am to hear that. When I revived you, I thought we were going to save this colony all by ourselves. But I was wrong. We can't save Halcyon on our own. We're all going to have to pull together, somehow. We are not a colony anymore. Our last connection to Earth has been severed. I don't know if we'll survive, but we're going to have to try our best.
Lifetime employment program ruined. The OSI teaches
that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Sanjar's civil liberties and worker-centric policies were slow to catch on with the other corporations. But as Halcyon began its long, arduous journey toward recovery, many of Terra 2's smaller townships started adopting MSI's alternative corporate structure, and eventually became entirely self-sufficient. In the coming years, many of these townships managed to eke by, where otherwise they might have starved. Consumed by paranoia, Lilia Hagen took Sublight Salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever. Time would tell if her replacement could keep the Sublight family together. Adelaide McDevitt replaced Reed Thompson as the leader of Edgewater. She and her followers transformed Edgewater in their image. Anyone loyal to Reed was pressured into leaving town, and those who stayed behind adapted to her way of life. Adelaide transformed the old cannery into a new garden. The nearby Edgewater Cemetery provided a convenient source of fertilizer. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the Lifetime Employment Program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective. She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker, and Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name, and in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, an MSI subsidiary of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail, or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. It was widely suspected that Sophia Akande was the true power behind Chairman Rockwell. However, after the riots on Tartarus, she was never again seen in the colony. Various theories circulated as to her fate. Some believed she boarded an interstellar ship capable of journeying to a distant colony. Others believe she died trying to escape Tartarus. Some few suggest she fled to Monarch, where she continued to live among a small band of loyalists. There is another theory, which suggests that Sophia's encounter with you changed her, and she deliberately retreated from public view, but continued supporting the colony in secret. When Dr. Wells began reviving the Hope's colonists, he found himself with a sudden windfall of additional supplies and resources, courtesy of an anonymous donor. If Wells knew who his supplier was, he never told a soul. Chairman Rockwell served as the public face for the changes in Halcyon to come. Whenever you needed strings pulled or a voice to sell a policy change, Rockwell was only too happy to oblige. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. Though he was always haunted by the failures of his past, he was determined to make things right by building toward the future. The revival project was hard and painful work, but in the end, despite limited resources, over half the Hope's colonists were successfully revived. Even after Wells passed away, the Hope scientists and engineers worked night and day to pull Halcyon from the brink of collapse. Their efforts continue to this day, which may be reason enough for optimism. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Life will never be the same in Halcyon. It is widely agreed that the colony has a chance of stabilizing within a generation, owing to the hard work and determination of the surviving colonists. Recovery is a distant goal, and the path is long and uncertain. But the people of Halcyon carry on, determined as ever. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
I loved it. Absolutely loved the ending right there. I love the way it tells the whole story of what happens to everybody you've encountered and changed throughout the entire thing, which makes, I think, the biggest replayability of all. But the thing that sucks for me, I like being the good guy in the stories. I don't like being the bad person. So if I do another playthrough, which I probably will, I'll probably do a couple. It would probably be just like a melee playthrough or a dumb playthrough, something like that. But I thought the story was fantastic. It was enough of a reason. You know, most games have this small reason for the story to continue. This is a huge reason. You know, you're trying to save thousands and thousands of people, and then by the end you find out you need to save the entire thing by saving these people. And it just worked out really, really well. I loved the endings to everybody's story. I like all of our companions and everything. Sad that Wells died, but I guess he was, I don't know how old he was. He looked like he could only be in his 50s, but you know, who knows. The combat was amazing because of the weapons. I didn't try melee too much. The guns were a little weird. But that could just be because they were elemental stuff, or because none of the guns were like 100%, you know, they were known to misfire or whatever. That maybe that was planned. But the gunplay was really good, except for once in a while you would miss a shot that you aimed dead on, but that could have been planned on. The characters were better than a lot of stuff I've played. Now I do need to play the first couple Mass Effect games to really, and Dragon Age, to really compare it. And also some of the older Obsidian games, which I plan on doing. But amazing game. The sound effects were, or the soundtrack, if you can put it that way, was awesome. One time sound cut out for me, and that was actually the only bug I encountered. I got stuck once, but got out. Those are the only bugs. I'm playing on PC. I don't remember what the settings were, but they were up there. They weren't the highest ones, but they were up there. My guess is all those other planets are for possible DLC, but it's so odd that they would put an ending like this if they're gonna put DLC. I mean, I guess they could have you play as someone else, or maybe just you can only go to that planet or those planets that it unlocks for you, and you have to kind of disregard the rest of it because you know what happens afterwards. But I think it's fantastic that Obsidian got acquired by Microsoft, because now they can make more games and they can make them better. So Obsidian's a fantastic team. I love their RPGs and I love the game. Hope you guys did too. I think really the one thing that made me love it more than anything was the companion stuff. Specifically Pavarti, Vicar Max. Their companion quests were really standouts. Ellie's was funny. Nyoka's was kind of sad. Sam didn't have one. And Felix was the only one where I feel they didn't put too much effort into, but Pavarti and Vicar just amazing. And I hope for a sequel or just something more from Outer Worlds. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave the credits rolling. If anything pops up, I'll keep it in here. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you. Bye.